So yes, we want to test how we can analyze data and convert it into a functional dashboard. And okay, it was expected that we'll do this in 2 to 3 hours. It was a project. So it says there are 3 tabs of data, and these are the 3 tabs: sales order, fruit list, and team list. And the 3 tabs are this. This is the sales order. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is the fruit list, and this is the team list. Okay. So then it says sales order shows the number of orders of fruits fulfilled by individual team members and the price they sold them at. Okay. So this is the sales order. It is showing us the order ID, the dates of sales, the salesperson. This column, I'll hide it. I think it was meant for a calculation, so I'll hide it. It's not very relevant right now. The fruit ID, the ID of the fruit, the product count. This is product count. The sales, total sales amount. Okay, so this is the total sales amount. This is the food cost. So food cost, then total cost. Okay, I see that some works have been done, because clicking on here, it's saying that sales, this total sales, total cost rather, was gotten by multiplying H2. This is H, the cost of one, by F2. So this product count is actually quantity, the count of the product. So it's safe to say that 4,092 number of this particular fruit were bought for this amount, and each of them cost this. So total cost then is this. So we see we have the total cost, we have the total sales, and now we have the profit. The profit which we'll get when we take away cost from sales, that gave us profit. That's the math that was done here. I'm sure this did not originally come with the data. Okay, this data set has been worked on, which is all right. And then we have something here that says exception of sales. Exception sale, is it exempted from sale? Is my interpretation of that. Okay. And then the customer that bought this, each of the name of the customers that bought this. So we have that. So basically our understanding of this data set is that it's a record of the fruits that has been sold, the amount they have been sold for, how much they cost the company initially, and the total quantities involved of each of the fruits. Now, we don't have the fruit name, we just have the fruit ID, okay? But definitely this table is a table that transaction has happened there, because we can see that sales has happened, profit has been made. So definitely transaction happened. Okay, so it's safe to say this is our transaction table or fact table. Then it goes on to describe, so sales order, which we have seen, shows the number of orders of goods fulfilled by individual team members and the price they sold them at. So we've seen what they mean by that. Then it says fruit list shows all the available fruits for sale and the cost of an individual unit, availability through the year, and the current stocks. Okay, so if we go into fruit list is showing us, this is the fruit ID. And if you remember, we saw fruit ID here. So we can already see links, okay? On the fruit list, we have fruit ID, and the same fruit ID is appearing on the sales order. Now, we have said before that IDs are like your key. Key in this case for communication between the tables. Okay, so this on fruit list, fruit ID is a primary key because it is not duplicated. It is showing us a record of one particular fruit is what we have on one row. The next row, another record. So on this fruit ID column, we do not expect to have one more than once, or two more than once, or three more than once, or any number that's represented here more than once. They only appear once here. So that's one reason why this is a primary key. And because it is, let's say, it is local to fruit list. This is a table for fruits. These are the fruit IDs. If we reason it out like that, that also makes it a primary key. But immediately this same fruit ID now comes onto this fact table here or any other table, it becomes a foreign key, okay? And on this table, it is duplicated. That is, one fruit ID could have been purchased many times, okay? That's the meaning of it being duplicated. Now, let me change this to a table. I know it's colored, but it's been converted from table to range. So if I pick everything, go to insert and change that to a table, so that I can view what we are seeing on here. Okay, I'm trying to look for, okay, see, this is an example of IDs being duplicated. I've got 42, 42, 42. That's, and 42 here as well. Okay, whereas that same 42 must only appear here only once. Saink, are you saying something? So that same 42 must appear here just once. We can't have it more than once on here. So if the same ID is repeated in this case, on this particular table, which is a dimension table or lookup table, you know how we have established that sales order table is your fact table or transaction table, because that's where the transaction has been recorded. Now that makes this fruit list a lookup table. Lookup table because it's just giving us information about our fruits. Apple has ID 1. It costs 128p. That's £1.28, 128p in pence, £1.28 in pounds. Okay. How available is it by season? So we have season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4. The amount of it that we have, okay, for the period, 27,123 pieces of it is in stock, okay? And then there's one case, season 3 _ fewer than 10K. If in season 3, we have in stock, it's fewer than 10K, we have a true or false identity for it here, okay? Season 3, fewer than 10K. So if in season 3, the quantity of it is fewer than 10K, let's see how that works. If I go on true and see what we get, just to be sure. Okay, so in season 3, these are the truths. So, and all the numbers we have here is less than 10,000. Okay, so whereas for false, it means those will be equal to or more than 10,000. Okay, but there's a mistake here. No, sorry, season 3. Only where we have true. Okay. So is there any number here that's less than 10K? If there is, then that would be a mistake. So I see that there isn't anything less than 10K there. I hope I'm understanding what I'm explaining, or I haven't confused you with what I just said. But yes, whatever the season 3, fewer than 10K. If it's fewer than 10K, it's true. If it's not fewer than 10K, it's false. Yes, that the explanation is right. Okay, so let's on. All right. So we have information on our fruits there and their availability per season. That's what this is about. And then another dimension table here is the team list. Okay, we have our team list, which is the same as you say employees table. The team, their IDs. So Steve is having HR ID 1. Luke is Steve's team leader. Operation manager is here. Their region that they are working for or working with, and their commission amount. Okay, so is there a way for HR for this team list to communicate with sales? Let's see what is on this table that we can use to identify teams on the other table. So if I come onto the sales order, we have ID, which should be the other ID, I believe, yes. Date, salesperson. Okay, we have salesperson, but we don't have the salesperson as an ID. Normally, it's good to identify people by ID for uniqueness, because 2 or 3 people could bear Steve within the same organization. And the fact that this salesperson name is not full name, it's just their first name that we can see here. So that makes it not entirely the best way. Yeah, not entirely the best. The best names are not entirely the best IDs to use to identify people, or for identity, for IDs within data. And that's because 2, 3, 10 people in an organization can have the same full name. You can have Debbie and Efoshe, like 10 of us in the same place, because that name is not like I've got copyright to the name. Okay, but each Debbie now having their own ID makes for proper identification. Okay, so that's why it would have been nice to have this ID also here rather than the salesperson name. Okay, but if we look through, in this case, this is what we have. Okay, so if I look through and I don't see any duplication in name, then I'm fine. I'm just saying in general. So let's check if we have. If I click on this column, and I think it's under data, let's if we go to not flash, not remove duplicates. At the moment, the count. So if the count here, there's 50. There's 50 rows of. So if I click on remove duplicates and that becomes less than 50, then I will know that this was duplicated. So let's see. Remove duplicates. Continue with current selection. Remove duplicates. So I'm saying remove duplicate from salesperson. I say, okay, so no duplicate is for, that was my way to check if I had duplicate. And you would argue, what if it removes it? Well, which means we would have lost some data. I can always come and undo that step and restore it back if it had removed anything. So we are fine to use salesperson as an ID. So this salesperson name is what we'll be using from this table to communicate with this table, okay? So this is not complicated at all. We have fruit list, which has ID for fruit ID, and we have team list, which has salesperson name, as well, okay? So going on further with our task description, it says Team list shows, we know what team list shows. Team list shows the reporting hierarchy of the salespeople and the percent commission they earn on sales with profit over 1,000. Okay. So for those that made over 1,000 in profits, their sales commission is 2%, or not 2%, is here. Okay. But it only applies to people when they make more than 1,000 in their profit. So any others with an exception flag on the sales order are not to be included in any profit calculations. So exception tag is this. Okay, if we look into exception tag, if it says true, we are not going to consider it. Okay, so all these truths, we are not going to consider them. And thank goodness, I see most of them are even negative numbers as well. Okay, so let's remember that information as well. Any others with an exception flag on the sales order are not to be included in any profit calculation. So those are our instructions. Then we are to calculate total profit for the month by team leader. How much did each team leader bring in? Our top 5 commission earners over the months. Okay, commission is only paid per sale when the profit is greater than 1,000. Okay, and it is not an exception. So 2 conditions. Okay, so if this exception flag should not be true and profit should be greater than 1,000. That's when we can apply the percent commission. Okay, a chart of the number of items sold per day. Okay, and if we look at this, it was something we haven't considered because I see that it says in the month. Okay, this, if we look at the dates, this is just a month sales record. It's just for the month of January. Okay, that this is for. All right, so it wants us to see the total product count, which is this per day. Okay, here I can see 4th of January, like the first how many, the first 20 something rows here is just for 4th of January. And that's quite a massive number in quantity that has been sold. But when we chart it, we'll see how that works. Okay, and a list of fruits available for season 3 with fewer than 10,000 in stock. Okay, that was what we looked at the last time. Total cost per region alongside total sales amount. Okay, this total cost, we need to look at it per region. And you know, we don't have region on this table, but because we are going to be linking, we have region here. Because this table is going to be speaking with this table, then we will be able to analyze by region very easily. Okay. We are also to find average commission paid by ops manager with the number of sales that led to it. So what was the average commission and what was the quantity of sales that they made for those commissions, only for operations managers, okay? And that we can find here again as well. Operations manager, their commission, and then we take that and consider it alongside alongside the total number of sales. Total number of sales will be not the quantity of, I don't think it's the quantity of products sold now. Total number of sales is you are counting this orders, the sales that were made, I believe. So for example, row 1 is one sales record, row 2 is another sales record, row 3 is another sales record, and so on and so forth. That's the way my brain is interpreting that. Okay, total number of sales that led to this. Chart showing the most profitable day of the week. So when we do it like a trend analysis, we'll see which day within each week of this 1 month data is profitable. And then total cost of exceptions, okay? Where exception is true, what was the total cost? You know, where exception sales is true, you need to see the total costs, this one, for that, okay? That's what we've been asked to work on. So what we've just done is your first step in data analytics. That is you trying to understand the business objective, which is this, the explanation behind your data, then the questions or the visuals or charts that they want to see, or the questions they want to use your dashboard to answer, okay? And as you interact with that, you're also interacting with the data set, okay? I wish I could open, let me see if I can get up our data analytics course. Is it here? Okay, so if I quickly show data analytics, this is the slideshow. So this is the chart, the slide we normally go through before we start the actual process of getting our hands dirty with work, with the data analytics, actual work itself, you know. And in recent days, we've said, let's be using Power BI to explain data analytics. Hopefully when we finish, well, we can't finish Power BI, but when we have done enough of Power BI, we can move to other tools as well. When we are very sure that everyone's in a good place, is in a good place with Power BI, then we'll see if we can get our other profs too. Okay, here, this is what I wanted to show us. The principles of data analysis says that data understanding, 50%. So like sometimes even more than that of your time goes into you understanding the question as well as the data and how you are going to use the data sets you have to answer the questions before you start dealing with if there is any data quality issue. But the actual one that I need, not this, is the data analytics life cycle, I believe, not this. Yes, this is the one I wanted to explain with. It says data analytics life cycle. First, we want to get the objective, okay? In our own case, the objective is that first tab, the task that is explained, the task that I was reading, you know, where the questions are. That is what shows us the objective, you know, of this particular work we're about to start. Then the next step says understanding your data. So what we've just done now is we've tried to understand the objective as well as understand the data itself hand in hand. You see how we were going to and fro between these two steps. You see, that's exactly, you know, what it is. That's what we have just done. Yeah, that's what we have just done. We were working between, this is the objective, okay, especially this question part actually is the objective. This top part was just some explanation to guide us, okay? But this is our main objective. And then we went into each of the tabs, each of these tabs, the data, to understand exactly how these questions are going to be answered, okay? And it is in looking at things from that perspective that you would understand if you have enough, you know, do I have the tab, it's talking about operations manager. I go into the team list and see, do I have anything on operations manager? Okay, because sometimes they might ask you to do some work without you having enough data. or that particular data that will help you to achieve it. So that is when you go back to them for access to exactly what you need. Okay, so those two steps are very important before we can move forward to the next step. Okay, do we understand this bit so far? Let me get a response. The part that we have done trying to understand the data as well as the questions and the instructions. Are there any questions we wish to ask?
For now, no.
Okay, okay. So already we are having a
What's the
picture.
name? Sorry, what's the name of this project?
Well, it's fruit work exercise,
We
or
need
what's
we
that?
need to name it, so by the time
We
we're saving it, we have to save it as
yes,
something.
we can save it as fruit exercise coursework. It's a
Okay.
coursework. Yeah.
Okay.
Fruit exercise coursework. That's what I'll drop it in the chat now. If I close it, drop it in the chat and drop it on our data platform. Thank God everything is in one. The question, and all these ones, they are all in one. So if I look at the name, my work on fruit exercise coursework, then I can close it and quickly bring it into Power BI. Then we'll see where we go from there. Okay. And I saved it, trying to see where I saved, because most of the time I've got this saved, different versions of the same thing saved in different places. What's this one? Scenario based. What's this scenario based one? Okay. I was looking for the work that we'll do, and this seems like the best one for us to go on to for now. Okay. Okay, saved on just on that document. Let me get that name of it out so that I'm not looking for what is not lost. Okay, I'm going to close it. Close this as well. And we go into Power BI and open a fresh Power BI. It feels like Power BI takes forever to load these days because it's doing some dance work before it opens. Okay, so I'm just going to go to a blank report so that we create a fresh new one. Then if I go into charts and see if I can attach, that, let me see, Control V that, would it open? No, let's go into documents then. Okay. So we have it in the chat. We can get it from there and save it. Okay. But right now, let's concentrate on getting this particular data in. Remember that when you are getting your data in from many different sources. Okay, let me make this part interactive. Just 5 minutes more. Let's try and get this particular work into Power BI. What's my first step if I'm getting data into here? Where do I go to?
Get data.
Get data. Thank you. Okay. And it depends on the sort of data source, the data you want to get in. In our own case, I'm not sure if that's an Excel workbook or it's a CSV. I think it's an Excel workbook. So I'll
Looks
click
like an Excel.
It's Excel. Okay. So if I go into document again and put that in, yes, that's the one. And I'll click on open. Okay. So we wait for it to bring us to where it will bring it in, and it opens the navigator. Okay. Now we can preview each one and see if it looks like what we want to bring in. There is a table 1 here. Okay, it says table 1. It just calls it table 1. Okay, there is a table 2, which looks like a fruit list. This happens sometimes, okay, where it brings the table, the one in the tabular form, as well as the one that's not in tabular form, okay? And it doesn't matter, okay? Whichever one you bring in, I don't believe that it matters, okay? So these are the ones we need. We need the fruit list, we need the sales order, we need the team list. Now the task description, I can bring it in so that we can refer to it just to remember what exactly we are doing. But this task description is not going to be part of the work at all. It's just for us to get the questions if we need to go back and, okay. Now, I've clicked on the tables and I'm not going to click on these ones because they are just a repetition of these ones. So table 1 is your sales order, as you can see, and table 2 is your fruit list. So I'm not going to get those in at all. Okay. Now, if you prefer to unclick these two and bring those in, that's fine, as long as you label them right when you come in. Okay. So now, because I believe there is a bit more work I need to do on this data set, I'm not going to load it directly. You choose the load directly if you are so sure that your data is clean. There is no need to do any further work on it. It is prim and proper and perfect. So you just click on load and you just load straight away and start your analysis. But in my own case, I want to take it through Power Query and check for any error or any work I might need to do on it. So I'll click on transform data. And that last one, cancel. If you want to cancel the process and not bring the tables in anymore, yes, you can cancel. Okay. So like I said before, I'm going to uncheck this because we are not going to load it. I just brought it in so that if I can't access the where to check the work I'm doing, okay. But normally I'm not supposed to bring it in. Okay, so we have our fruit list. Okay, we talked about all these lines, which are, if I go into view, so this is showing us our column distribution. Yes, this is where I should have started the class from, I remember. We talked about distinct and unique values last Thursday, I believe. Distinct and unique values, what are they? Okay, who remembers what unique values are? That wants to tell me. What are unique values?
Unique values only appear once.
Thank you, ma. They only appear just once in your data set. Okay. Whereas distinct value, how would you explain distinct value in your own understanding? What are distinct values?
I can only give a sample. I can't
Okay.
explain.
Yes.
Supposing we're having like 4 tools now, we are not
Yes.
going to count them as 4 tools. We are only going to pick 1 tool.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct, yes. So if we have four tools, that is 2, 2, 2, 2. Is that what you mean, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes. So if we have 2, 2, 2, 2, that's 4 numbers, but they are all 2. The distinct value there is 1, only 2. Only 2 is appearing. So it's the only distinct value there, you know. And if we are talking about 2, 2, 2, 2, there's no unique value because 2 is appearing 4 times and it's the only value, nothing is appearing once. So unique values are values that appear just once. So you would understand why this fruit ID is saying it's got 95 unique IDs because they are not repeated. And we checked and the names of these fruits as well. They are not repeated. They are all appearing once. And those are the only values we have there anyway. That's why it's also the same as a distinct value. Okay. But just because I don't like to see too many things at the same time, I like to uncheck that after I've finished, looking at my column distribution. My first priority is to actually make sure that the data is being cleaned. Okay. Now, if we go back to fruit list, what's the first thing you notice about this fruit list, the way it has brought it in? What do you notice?
Column head.
Yes. So our column header, fruit ID, fruit name, fruit cost, all of those ones, instead of bringing them to the top where you have column 1, column 2, column 3, it's made them first row, and that's wrong. So that's where we are going to start from. So if we go under home, there's something here where it says transform, use first row as header. So we are saying this first row, use it as my header. Okay, so I can click down. We have used first row as header. We have used header as first row. If I click on use first row as header, now that is more proper. Okay, and what we did just now is recorded it on the applied step. It always records any function you have just performed, it gets recorded here. If you don't want that function anymore, you just come here to delete it with the X's, on the side. And immediately it's promoted the headers. It also tried to detect the data type. Okay, it's seen that fruit ID is numeric, it's whole numbers. So it puts 1, 2, 3. Fruit name is text, it's put ABC. Fruit cost, it's just seeing them as numbers. So it's put whole numbers there. The fruit cost in pence. And it's seeing this as decimal. 1.2 is put that as decimal. You see, it's quite intelligent. It's gotten this right so far. And every other thing here is text apart from, okay, not text. This is the one they call, is it the Boolean one? If that's the right way to, or Boolean, the right way to pronounce it. When you have a true or false, yes or no answer, as this is what that looks like. Let me click on here. It says true or false, yes or no. Your answers that are, that are like that are like word and opposite kind of thing. That's what it looks like. It's also true or false for all of these ones. It's detected that and it's put those there. And where is find number, stock, how much in number we have is put that as number. The only one I see that it has not properly detected is this column 1. It's not sure if it's ABC or 1, 2, 3. That's why you see ABC 1, 2, 3 together. And if I check, there's nothing there. That was the column I hid when we were in Excel. So there's nothing wrong in right-clicking on this and removing it because it's blank. It's not bringing or adding any value. Now, there's something here I noticed. Why have we got true? There is a true here. Why have I got true on this side? False. So this is where I go back to my data source that I loaded and see how that is, if this really actually is there. Does that make sense? So I'll go to the data source, the Excel that we loaded, open it and see what this is about, because this doesn't look right, to me. Okay. So for now, I'll remove it just for the purpose of rounding up the class. I'll take that out. And this table fruit list is already clean. The data types are sorted. There's no missing values, everything has been filled up. And that's it really for that table. I don't see any more that needs to be done for that table. Then, and tomorrow we'll go on to sales order and see what's up with it. Go on to team list and see what's up with it. What needs to be done. We'll be referring to our question as well, just to be sure that we have everything, or if we need to calculate anything at all. Okay, For example, this column 1 here, and see something is not right. So if I check, okay, I'm going to remove it. It doesn't add any value to what we are doing. It's detected this as date, which is good for us. The ID, which is good for us. The product count, can change that to product quantity if it brings better understanding, you know, because it's good that your column name has meaning, good meaning to you, okay? Exception sales, some of it are null, some of it is null rather. We can decide to say where it is null, change it to false, okay? Because normally it should be true or false. So that is true or false. So I will say change value or replace value. I just want to replace the null, okay? Replace value. I just clicked on one of the nulls because I don't want to type null. And I say false for this one, so that I have that true false. Okay, so that sorts that problem. We have total profit. We have the data types are right. Customer name is there. Okay, and that looks clean enough as well. No more trouble with that. For team list, we have the IDs. Data types are looking good. Region, commission is in percentage. I'll leave it as decimal for now because it's easier to work with than actual percentage sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Okay. And I did say that I'm not bringing this in. But if I don't bring it in, how would I see it is the problem. So I'll load it, bring it in. It's just not going to be relevant. So tomorrow I'm rushing, we'll recheck if our data quality is top notch, if we have actually cleaned this way. It looks clean to me, but we'll recheck tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to close and load it so that we can give it a name. We can save it. It's untitled at the moment. If my computer goes off, all of that hard work will be gone. Okay, so let's bring it in. It's loading it and trying to detect different things in it. Okay, so it's loaded everything in. Let me remove this. Okay. Now, the first thing I'll do before checking anything is I'm going to save it as fruits. What did we say to call it, Seth? I'll remove I'll just call it fruit exercise coursework. Softnet, that call is, what is that? Okay. Softnet, fruit exercise coursework. I can remove this one since there's softnet. So I'll save it under documents and that should be fine. So that is saved. I'm just waiting to see that this name is actually changing. Yes. So it says last saved at 7:50, which is correct. And this is where we are at now is the report view, your Canva, where you'll be seeing all the beautiful work that we will do. The table view, where you can see each of the tables as tables. That says, this is why I brought this in, so that I can quickly come here and see what's the next question, what's the next question, what's the next question. If not for that reason, it's not even relevant at all. Okay. And then very importantly, we want to check if Power BI has detected good relationship. You see that it couldn't detect any relationship for this one. And I wasn't expecting me to. That's just the table I said I just brought in for bringing in sake. Okay. But it's detected relationships between these tables, these two. This is our fact table. Okay. If I hover on there, for team list, it has used the salesperson name, okay, to form a one-to-many relationship. It's also used fruit ID, to form a one-to-many relationship, okay? And because we don't have any other tables hanging on these dimension tables, this type of relationship or data model is called star schema. That's your star schema. It's very simple. All your lookup or dimension tables are directly linked to your fact table. That's what your star schema is. So we are good to go to start answering gradually the questions that we have in this task description. Tomorrow we'll read these instructions again, and then we can gradually start doing the good work. But for now, this is where we will stop. Okay. Do we have any question? Any question?